you touched on a key word there, and that's fear,
Yeah.
and boy, fear, energy, using the energy, my reading and work that I've even done on understanding why artists need that energy, and they ask for that energy, and how it connects to even how they like to harvest energy. Have you looked into have you ever had any obviously with your colors, but how they relate with energy and energy harvesting? I know you talk a lot about loose, and just it's sometimes it's hard for people to really understand what they can't see, what's not right there in front of them, or what they think they can't feel. But energy is so, as someone who loves music and really feels like I could feel frequencies and energy of people, it is so important. And when you can master how to harvest that energy in a bad way, in a sense, there's a lot that you could control.
Bingo. Yeah. Our focused energy as human beings, I think that is the most precious resource on the planet, the most powerful, potent, is our energy. That's ultimately what they're after. That's why life is hard. That's why modern life is made to like beat us up from cradle to grave. Again, it's meant to be like this really like emotionally charged, like even having a house, like the mortgage, a death contract, it's like, it's very,
what the definition of mortgage means, Latin root.
Exactly. If you break it down, it's pretty dark, and it's, and you're in, okay. So I will say that a lot of the tasks in life, the tasks themselves, the tasks of life, even going through school, it's energy. Our energy is up, like taking tests, doing this, getting on the bus, going in, like literally everything is, we're just being jostled around all day. We're never like settled. We're never feeling great. There's always some sort of stress. Like we're kind of like we're fed stress from the moment we're born. I mean, schools, it's all nonsense. Like
it really is.
Ultimately it's all nonsense, especially if you're like really global pull out view, and like this whole thing is that we're doing, like, should we even be speaking languages? Should we just be like, if we didn't have language, if we didn't speak, I wonder if we had developed like some sort of like sing-song sound-based language with like clicks and stuff, even though we make fun of that, we make fun of that. I think that I wonder how interconnected we all could be, and how I think language is just designed so we can talk about fluffy stuff that's nonsense. Like, I don't think it's really made for a real part
of the greater distraction.
Sharing. Yeah, I think a lot of it's just fluff. Needle in a haystack sort of thing. They make the language really shiny, but all of it's superfluous. Yeah.
It's interesting that you bring that up too, because that really rolls into something that you had mentioned on the first pod that really hit with me. And G knows where I'm about to go with this, because I've said this to him before you guys even did that pod, and we've had so many good talks throughout the years, and especially recently when we started working on this project together. And it was something that you mentioned about, and when you said it, I said, "Oh my God, there's something about me that feels the same way." And me, as a Black man who looks at people in my community, in a sense, was your talk on history, right? And how, and I totally agreed with, sometimes I feel like, why are we continuing to recycle this trash history that we don't even know is legit to up and coming generations, especially, and I'm just being real, but especially in my race group, to continue to chew on and remind them about these things that I think we would all do so much better with, not even knowing or understanding that element.
I couldn't agree more. If we could just move forward, and that to the average mind, that's like the most radical, disrespectful, blasphemous.
That's the victim standpoint, though. That's the standpoint of the victim.
They teach us about slavery and then chain us to it. Isn't that interesting? I mean, what if what if the human story doesn't go back that far? And the trauma stories are really all interpersonal. Like it's really us doing us down here, down in like, you know, in the generation after generation.
People that are alive.
The people that are alive. Because that's an NPC conversation as well. Like how many people are around here just filling in space? That's a bigger question than I have the answer to, but it's a fascinating question.
It is a fascinating
question.
I
think about it more and more every day. I really do. Because I don't think there are some people that I encounter. You guys are not judging by this conversation alone, and by my, you know, by just knowing you guys, we are a lot awake and aware on a level that I feel is unattainable to some, and that's not their fault. Maybe that's just how the program's written, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
But to go back to what you said about history, and I think that they always tell us that if we don't learn history, we're doomed to repeat it. What does that even mean? Like we're bashed over the head with history, and we constantly repeat it. Let's try it the other way. Like let's try it the way that we haven't been trying it, because what we're doing right now is just repeating and repeating and repeating and repeating and repeating, seeming to do the opposite effect of what we're told, you know. And I think that that's why we are taught. I think that, you know, all empires are essentially the same. All religious messiahs have the same story. They all do. All modern religions are mirrored after earlier versions of what we're told are earlier religions. And who knows if any of those really existed, or if they're just like part of a record, quote unquote, a prescript. You know, we talk about scripted reality. To me, that means computer script, and a line of auto executing computer code. That's what a script is. That's a definition of a computer script, something that is pre-programmed to just auto execute. And it's just like, maybe that's why we're seeing the purples everywhere and the numbers everywhere, because this, whatever's making this magic show happen, is kind of running on mathematics again. It's like running on this mathematical thing. And once we begin to become aware of it, and G, like you said earlier, and James, like you said many times, like once you kind of like open your eyes to the like simple patterns that exist just around us everywhere, like the world does speak to you. The world opens. Once you learn the language of the universe, the universe speaks to you fluently, you know, and maybe that's what synchronicities are as well. It's kind of the universe talking to you. It's like, hey, I see you seeing me, you know, or something like that. Yeah.
That's something I was just about to say is like reflections. Like everything is kind of a reflection, like on every level, you know, like it's all like a kind of smoke and mirrors, you know, and like you talk about with illusions and holograms and stuff. But
it all goes together, right? Metaphorically.
Well, that's exactly what I was about to say.
It just blows my mind. It's like
one metaphor, I guess you could say, that I've been thinking about a lot lately is like, I think our society, when you talk about programs, like DNA has a program, right? But that's not a bad program. That's life itself. And that's really like amazing and divine and beautiful and all the great things. But I think our society specifically is the virus. And because we're waking up now, we've got this virus, this global virus, you know,
and it's the coronavirus, our head, our mind,
right?
The corona crown head, crown of our head, cradle of our mind, cradle of our brain, you know.
The Toltec talk about the parasite. I'm always, I have to bring up Toltec every
language operates like a parasitic invader, because it starts off broad and obtuse, and it can kind of like simple, and then within almost like a tributary of a river, like with very quickly it spreads and grows, and at a certain point, just like again for the river, like at a certain point it connects to the ocean and has access to the entirety, because like at a certain point, once you get proficient in a certain language, you kind of know all the language, and even if you don't know how you know, but you hear a word you've never encountered, you're tapped in, like it doesn't mess with you so much. Like you kind of keep and then people are like, oh, context clues. But no, I think it's operating in a much different way. I think like we tap in to like fluency is like a fluid state, you know, like being able to, I think there's something connected. There's something connected. Anyway, but language, again, deception, blah, blah, blah.
Flow, fluid, fluency.
Isn't that,
like
I never thought
state.
of that too, but yeah.
Word magic. Word magic.
Oh my gosh.
It brought me so much closer to with the, what, oh yeah, look at that.
Look at that word magic.
Yeah.
I have this. I have a stack of books right by my computer. This is one. I mean, it's one of my favorites. I reference this book all the time. Did you recommend? You might have. You guys both. I don't know. I feel like I got